working regularly. So I'm just wondering, at what point will we have certification on staff? I know that you're working towards it, you made mention of that, but I think it's very important that we work on getting that.
Yeah, the challenge, well, not the challenge, but the way the situation is now is we're contractually obligated to offer the work to My Toy Works until that contract expires. So even if we want to use Northside, I've spoken to the representative and he's willing to use the vessel if water depth permit and with some training. So our staff have to work with Eastern Miller to keep it open. And I just want to make sure that we understand how the program works. That it's not a one-time dredge. That Mr. Miller is out there on a regular basis dredging and prop washing as needed, and my conditions are safe for him to do so.
Okay, and then one other question I think just to council is that I think we're going to have a discussion about some of these major expenditures. At what threshold do we have to start to have a local benefit charge? I think obviously people say, well, you know, that area was benefited, so our issue should be completely tax funded as well. But there comes a point when we just have to have local benefit charges, and so we have to define that more clearly, I think. What is that threshold? And because there's other things that are coming to us, maybe the nipper wash expenditures for the mapping the land so that they can build on their properties too. Does that fall within a threshold that we will just pay through the tax levy, or will we say that there has to be a local benefit charge in that case as well? So I think we have to define our policy in that way.
I think that's the representative that spoke on the from Grand Bend mentioned that they're willing to talk to us about that. And I think those are items that we need to put together with the report, whatever we take the budget. Councilor McGuire.
Yeah, there's really two main issues here. One is the harbor mills themselves. They fill in with silt. Wave action causes a lot of that stuff. And that's where we use My Tai and we use the north side to do it. And that's where, again, this new machine that My Tai Works is looking at purchasing, I think, will do an excellent job. The other issue we have is farther upriver, you're into clay and gravel. So, you know, you're into a totally different type of dredging. You also have your seawalls. And I think that's where your committee would come into play down the road, because all these groups, these marinas, also have their own seawalls that we need improvement as well. So you want to bring them in and develop the long range plan. You know, like Brad's point about $2 million, you know, to do the whole harbor docking. You want to buy in with them, because then you can do, you know, hopefully maybe you can do it all at once with everybody and get economies of scale. But I think as far as going forward, I think the most critical thing tonight is that we decide that we do something with these harbors, because people are figuring out where to put their boats now. We only have about a month and a half before they're going to make a decision whether they're going to come here or go somewhere else. And you know, I like the idea of the local benefit charge, spreading it out. And if you look at 60,000 divided by 500 slips, it's $120 per user. And I'm not sure how much revenue we generate from the launch ramp, but could you even tack on a little bit extra there to recoup some of the cost as well? Because even those people that are just using day use are still benefiting from access to the lake and the harbor. So I would like to see it push forward and decide on tonight.
Making a motion.
I will make the motion to
that option.
the option.
D&E?
What's that?
Combination D&E?
Yes.
D&E.
These that My Tai also allows to offer the north side in Port France.
Amending the contract with My Toy Works and the second part is to allow My Toy Works to operate the north side in Port France.
Yep. I'll second it.
Okay. Councilor Bonston.
I just have a question to the CAO. Jan, do we have any idea some of these options right now? We haven't seen the operating budget. We have seen the operating budget. We haven't discussed it. Are we looking at in terms of tax points? Are we looking at if we add this in the implication?
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
0.5% was 40,000.
Right.
So 40 to 45,000. So adding in depending which options you're choosing, yes, there is an impact to your rates.
So if we use Councilor McGuire's idea on the local benefit tax, local improvement tax, that will offset some of that, won't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
We'll do it through the slips.
yeah, I guess what I'd like to do is, if Councilor McGuire is amenable to this, I think we should put a time frame on this, to your idea, and I think we make this a priority in our budget discussions for operating. When's our next January 31st? budget discussions are next.
Yep.
Then maybe what we do on the 31st, if this becomes a top priority item, get it out of the way and let's look at the implications, because the economic downside to this, I think, is disastrous if we don't do something.
So the motion is that we amend the contract. We're dealing with it in the budget, how we're going to,
But my amendment is that we make it a priority on the 31st.
but we don't approve it tonight. Now, what do we need to do to make this all happen? I guess the timeline is gonna be wait until the 31st to amend the contract, or is this?
Well, we'll need to know in fairly short order after that, if this amendment is going to take place, because we're making our applications for our dredging approval right now.
That's what I'm saying, we have to put the applications in to get the approvals.
Can't wait 2 weeks?
Councilor Russell?
I'll just say it's 2 points it's 2 points what we're discussing here roughly. Just roughly, everybody just looks at it as 2 points right now. And if we look at the idea that everybody seems to be kind of agreeing with some form of user pay, right? Then that 2 points then becomes a sort of non-issue. The real issue here tonight is to give direction so that we don't fall into the same thing we fall into every year. We put it off and then we can't get our dredging permits.
Right.
So it's no different than what you suggested, Mr. Mayor, at the budget session last Tuesday. Let's pass the capital budget so that we can send the contracts out and get the better prices, because you're doing it in a business-like manner. So I think in a similar sense tonight, that's what we should be doing. Why I suggested the working group, I suggested to people a year and a half ago that this issue isn't a one-timer, this isn't one issue, this is about 10 issues all. It's like a tar baby, and what we've done is we've sometimes isolated to one and gone down the negative road. What we need the working group for is a very simple thing, except it's long-term, and I think you guys have addressed it. I'm quite glad that everybody's talking in the right direction. The right direction is that parallel to this going on with the new contract, we get the working group going right now. We can do 2 things at once. It's the funniest thing how that works. You know, like we don't have to wait for something to happen. And I think we need the right thing for the direction for the staff needs, and we can work on the working group. Because as the cruising club representative Rob said tonight, there are certain things that they have to do in terms of their yearly stuff, and obviously the ones in Port Franks have to think about those things. But we also have some long-term decisions to make about rebuilding harbors. So let's get the discussion going about those bigger issues long-term.
Okay, so the first motion is to deal with these two. Councilor Scott?
The other thing is, will ABCA be brought into this as well, because the river?
They have to be part of it.
Okay.
Well, again, to me, there's 2 distinct issues here. ABCA gets brought in as far as the waste management perspective goes, and then, but when we're talking about our annual dredging program, ABCA actually works on the opposite side of the table as a permitting agency.
Okay.
So we'll be bringing them in to consult and say, this is, you know, if we were changing the contract, saying this is our new method of dredging, we don't see it as having any more impact than it had in the past, and we believe we should be permitted.
So further to that, if we make the decision tonight, rather than wait 2 weeks, that we go with the dredging things, it also gives Becky, the harbor master in Port Franks, information to be able to provide to the Port Franks Yacht Club. It gives the gentleman that was here tonight talking from their group, the Yacht Club program, and it gives them information now that they know that we're looking at this, rather than waiting 2 weeks and then getting the information out. Boaters start looking. It's like people that have trailers. They start looking for places to go. They start planning their holidays now. It's time down from their hobby. So we've got to do it now, not later.
Okay. Councilor McGuire?
Sorry, just one further question to Brent. With the changing of the Mai Tai contract, the current contract states that the harbor should be maintained at a depth of 6.5 feet to Grand Bend, is that correct?
That was it's not in the specific contract documents, but the proposal is attached to the document as a schedule, so there is a depth criteria.
Okay, so the motion is we update that contract and go with that, with the intent that there will be a user pay component through the budget process. Is that mover and seconder, everybody? All in favor? favor of that?